Hello, thank you for joining us. I'm Sandy Clark, and I'm filling in today. I'm a senior consultant for National Restaurant Consultants, and Richard Weil, the CEO of National Restaurant Consultants, is busy consulting with a client, and so he has left that for us today. Today, I'm joined by Brian Devine, the president of Top Line Management and Cafe Fuel. He is going to talk today some about producing some videos. And we have Tanya Bruner here, who is the Vice President of Procurement for Performance Food Service here in Denver, who's going to talk about the realities of life in the food supply chain right now. So Brian, you want to start us off?
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Sandy and Tanya, for joining us today. I'm going to keep things really brief because we've been talking about some similar things over and over again, and I'm going to talk about video, yes, again. And the reason for it is because we're always watching what's going on in the marketplace, and we're seeing what's working and what's not. And we're seeing over and over again, when you take advantage of video, especially today with everybody on social media, the video has a compelling effect that you don't get really any other way. And just to give you an example, the difference between putting out, let's say, a promotion or a coupon to get people to maybe order from you online, the difference between putting that on Facebook and saying, hey, we have this coupon code, use it, and the difference of either you being on camera and saying, here's what we've got, here's why we've done it, and here's the code, and we'd love for you to take advantage of it. It's massive, the difference. And to give you an example, there's a local restaurant in our area that just had a new menu for their online system. And instead of just saying, here's the new menu, click here, they did a video and they walked through the menu and why they chose these things and how great it would be. And the comments and shares and likes was immense, versus if they had just said, here's our new menu, click here, it wouldn't have had nearly the impact. So I want you to really consider utilizing video. If you're uncomfortable with it, we can do a lot of it for you and automate a huge portion. So reach out, let us know how we can support you, but please, please, please consider doing video for your marketing. It'll make a huge impact.
Thank you, Brian. What a great way to bring your personality directly to your customers.
Absolutely.
So today we're fortunate to have Tanya Bruner joining us. Tanya is right there in the trenches with you guys trying to source food and is going to talk about that a little bit today. So Tanya, how would you describe what you're facing with trying to keep product on your shelves right now?
Challenging. The biggest challenge we're having right now is in the protein area, as these processors across the country have had to shut down due to COVID-related illnesses. It has really put a cinch into the supply chain. So they're not moving the boxes through there, and we're really feeling it on our end. They've cut back on personnel because of social distancing rules. That's affected how much labor they have in those facilities. So for instance, if you're used to getting a boneless pork butt, we haven't been able to get boneless pork butts. We have some in the freezer, but you can't get a boneless fresh pork butt very easily at all, because that just requires additional labor. So they've taken that step out, and they're shipping bone-in pork butts. So the good news is we still have pork butts, it's just that they have bones in them.
So how much notice do you get about what your loads are going to look like?
Well, I'm getting notices today on some loads that are showing up on our dock Monday about products that are being cut completely, not even partial shipments, just completely being shorted. Sometimes we don't know until the truck hits our dock and we start unloading the truck and discover the outs. And honestly, the suppliers sometimes don't know what they're even going to be able to ship because they're scrambling to make up this shortfall and get as much out the door as they can. And
how much notice are suppliers asking you to give them before they ship your orders?
A lot of our suppliers have extended their lead times. So where we may have had a 2-week lead time before, there's a number of suppliers we have a 3-week lead time now with. And as quickly as this market has changed in the last 4 weeks, it makes it a little bit more challenging on our end to get that product in as quickly as we need it. So the suppliers are working hard to get it out the door, working hard to get it in here to our warehouses, but it's just a gap in that supply chain when everything shut down back in March.
What kind of changes can restaurants expect in the products that they're getting?
Well, like I mentioned, the bone-in pork butt instead of a boneless, that sort of thing, wherever it might be a bone-in versus a boneless product. Peeled skirt steaks, you can't hardly find a fresh peeled skirt steak. There's unpeeled ones out there, but not the peeled. Fresh ground beef, major shortages on fresh ground beef until June. There is product in freezers. We have frozen ground beef, but the processors aren't able to get the fresh grinds out. Some of the products that trim is used in when they make with that trim missing, we're seeing price increases in other products that use trim, sausages, pepperonis, that sort of thing. We're seeing some allocations on pepperoni now, and where we might not have a particular one available, might have a different one, but it's just a log jam, basically.
What other areas are you seeing spotty performance in?
Well, I'm seeing it in surprising categories. We've seen it in baked goods like breads and that kind of thing. These manufacturers, they have had to change the way they're doing business too, and have to reduce their workforce so that they have social distancing within the manufacturing side or within the warehouses where we pick product up. And all of that slows down that production. So we've seen delays and shorts. Baked goods, yeast is very short. Dry active yeast or dry yeast is very short because there was a huge pull on that through retail when everything shut down. Everybody was quarantined, is quarantined still, doing far more baking at home than even we did during the holidays, right? So that's almost all of that out of the supply channel. So fresh is readily available, fresh wet yeast. And there's conversion charts out there on how to use the fresh wet if you're used to using the dry. So it's a workaround, and there's yeast out there. It's just not the yeast that we're used to seeing.
So it sounds like it's really hard to predict where the next shortage is going to be.
Yeah, it really is. You know, I mean, when you start seeing it hit the processors on a beef side, you can guess that it might move through pork or chicken. But there's unpredictable stuff. Lard is there, you know, we might be running lard because of the ground beef trim tallow side effect, how that incorporates into that whole production. And then toilet paper, you know, who thought we'd be out of toilet paper?
Yeah.
So if a rumor starts and people start grabbing stuff out of the stores, it can create a shortage that really wasn't even in existence till everybody stuffed their garage full of it or whatever it might be. So,
any advice?
From a restaurant point of view, I'd say be prepared to use frozen product. If you're used to using fresh, just have that game plan in place in case you do need to go that direction. Being flexible, because there's plenty of food out there. It's just not always exactly what we're used to seeing. You know, if you can be flexible on brands too, because us on the distribution side, sometimes we're trying to just get product wherever we can to try and get product into the restaurants. If one of our manufacturers doesn't have it available, we might look to another one to solve that need. So being flexible, you'll be able to have more product available for your customers and just be prepared for these surprises that are coming up.
So the really good news is manufacturers are scrambling to keep up with increased restaurant need. And so people still want restaurant food, and the food is there. We just need to figure out how to get it there and get it there consistently.
Right.
Thank you, Tanya.
Yes, it's been great seeing it turn back up. I'm excited about where we're going, but yeah, it's just this bump in the road to get there.
Excellent. And thank you so much, both Sandy and Tanya, for giving us that positive end to what is obviously frustrating for everybody involved. Tanya, thank you so much for your time today. Sandy, thank you for being here to make sure this all goes well. And everyone out there, please reach out. Let us know what questions you have. How can we support you? And we look forward to seeing you next time on the National Restaurants Helpful Moment. Bye for now, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.